Today, we're diving into something really cool, a kind of blueprint for your inner world, pulled from the wisdom of Kriya Yoga. Think of it as a step-by-step guide to, well, mastering your own mind.
Seriously, just think about that for a second. What if you actually had an owner's manual for your own mind? Something that explains exactly how you tick and gives you the tools to make real, meaningful changes. Well, that's exactly what we're getting into today, a super practical path to self-mastery.
All right, so where do we even start a journey like this? It all begins with understanding your internal operating system. And in yogic philosophy, there's this really fascinating concept that explains it all, and it's called the gunas.
So you can kind of think of the guna as the three primary colors of your personality. We've all got a mix of them, right? But usually one of them is a bit more dominant, and that's the one that really shapes our habits and, our whole state of mind. Okay, now get this. Here's a really interesting insight from our source material. It suggests that about half of us, 50%, are primarily driven by what's called rajas. That's the quality of action, desire, restlessness, the feeling, always moving, always chasing the next thing, always trying to achieve. Does that sound a little familiar? So let's break this down a bit more. On one end of the spectrum, you've got tamas. That's all about inertia, maybe feeling a bit lazy or just stuck. Then in the middle, you have that super active rajas we were just talking about. And then on the other end, there's sattva, which is this state of clarity, peace, and real balance. Now, as you're looking at these, you can probably start to see which one of these energies feels most active in your life right now, can't you? Okay, so understanding your dominant guna. That's kind of like the diagnosis, right? But the big question is, what's the prescription? How do you actually shift your state? Well, that's exactly where Kriya Yoga comes in. It's the practical, hands-on method for making that transformation happen. So the Yoga Sutras lay out Kriya Yoga in 3 main steps. Now, all 3 are super important, but for today, we're really going to zoom in on the first 2, tapas and svajaya. Why? Because these 2 create such a powerful, actionable foundation that you can literally start building on today. All right, let's grab our first tool from the toolbox, tapas. And listen, if you want to create any kind of change in your life, any, tapas is your engine. It's the fire, the heat, the disciplined effort that literally forges a new you.
And let's be clear, tapas isn't some one-and-done thing. Nope, it's all about sustained, focused effort. It's that grit, that perseverance that keeps you dedicated to your goal, especially when things get tough and every single part of you is screaming, just quit. The source material we're drawing from gives us this amazing analogy to really get this. Picture a goldsmith. They don't just stumble upon a beautiful piece of jewelry, right? No, they have to create it from a lump of raw gold. And that analogy, it applies perfectly to us. You are that raw gold, just packed with potential. And the fire and the hammer, well, that's tapas. That's the disciplined effort you apply day in and day out. And the result? A stronger, more refined, more resilient version of yourself.
And this isn't just some abstract mental exercise either. Tapas works on both the body and the mind. Physical tapas, that's you consistently showing up for your workout, even when you don't feel like it. But mental tapas is just as crucial. It's that discipline to take a breath before you react, to choose your words carefully, to build that mental endurance so you can handle tough situations with a bit more grace. But think about it. All that discipline, all that fire, without direction, it's just spinning your wheels, right? It's aimless. And that's exactly why this second piece is so critical. If tapas is the engine, then swadhyaya is the compass. It's what tells you where you're even supposed to be going.
So svadhyaya literally translates to self-study. But hey, we're not talking about cramming for a history test here. This is about deep, honest-to-goodness introspection. It's about asking yourself the big questions. Who am I, really? What is my purpose? It's about digging way past those surface-level easy answers to find out what's true at your core.
There's this really powerful story from the source about a young boy. Someone asked him what he wanted to be when he grew up. And he didn't say, a doctor or an astronaut. He just said, first, I want to be a good human being. Wow. That right there, that is the heart of svadhyaya. It's figuring out your core values before you start chasing all those external goals.
So how can you actually start doing this? Well, the source gives us a super simple but really powerful technique. Every night before you go to sleep, just take 5 minutes. That's it, 5 minutes. And ask yourself these questions. And hey, this isn't about beating yourself up. It's just about observing. This one little habit can build some incredible self-awareness over time. It's amazing.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. How am I supposed to fit all this in? Well, the suggestion from the source is actually pretty straightforward. Just 1 hour a day. 1 hour dedicated completely to you. For the exercise, for the study, and for that all-important introspection. Seriously. Think of it as the single most important investment you could ever make. The returns? They're priceless.
All right, so we've got the two key pieces of our blueprint now, right? We have the engine and the compass. So let's put it all together and see how they create real, lasting change in your day-to-day life. And honestly, if you take one thing away from this, let it be this. You absolutely need both. Without the engine of tapas, all that self-knowledge is just, well, it's just theory sitting in your head. And without the compass of svadhyaya, all that amazing discipline could have you moving incredibly fast, but in the completely wrong direction. They have to work together. It's non-negotiable.
And that really brings us to the final and maybe the most important question of all. The blueprint is right here in front of you. You've got the tool, that's your discipline, and you've got the map, that's your self-knowledge. You have everything you need to consciously, deliberately shape your inner world. So the only question left to ask is, where are you going to go?